everybody. Welcome back to the Damn Yankees podcast produced by Seven Ashes Productions. Today is Thursday, April 18th, and it's episode 44. My name is Megan. That's my brother Ryan.
Hi.
And over down there, wherever he is our baseball dummy Cliff.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. So since the last pod, the Yankees have gone 3-3, 500. In a series against Cleveland and Toronto. Sorry, I don't know why that was so hard to remember. I've had trouble remembering that all day while I was taking notes. So Cleveland and Toronto, we lost one game, the third game of the series in Cleveland in extra innings. Kind of an annoying loss, and then we proceeded to lose the next two in Toronto, and then won in comeback fashion in Game 3 yesterday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go over what we liked and what we didn't like and things like that. But we'll start off with Cleveland series started with a double header on Saturday.
Yeah, Game 1.
Yeah,
Rained out.
Friday's game was rained out. Schmidt was pushed to Game 1. That was at like 1:00 in the afternoon. I missed that game. We were at our spring football game here, but
I was at at my other job, my track meet, but I just kind of threw it on the side. And,
Ryan was totally coaching those kids very well.
Coaching the kids, but also it was the last meet of the regular season. It wasn't a big deal.
It wasn't a big deal. Hopefully, if they're still any of them still tuning in, they're like not offended by you not
No.
So the first game got rained out Friday, so Saturday afternoon game with Schmidt. Heard he did really well. I watched some highlights. He looked really good.
Yeah, he looked solid. I mean, it's normal Schmidt. He looked good for the first part of the game, and then he struggled. He didn't struggle as much as he did in the previous one. I think was that Toronto where in the homestand against Toronto where he struggled
a little bit. Yeah,
late.
About third trip around the
About
order.
76 pitches in is what they say. Is when he gets to pitch 76, that's when things start to
very specific.
dip. But
yeah,
but he didn't look terrible.
Against
Cleveland. Game 1 went pretty well.
Well, I think, he must have done really well because I think I heard yesterday during the game that he was up for the Player of the Week, the Player of the Week, whatever they call it, Montefiore, whatever. I just minimized everything. Sorry. Sorry. So I think he pitched really well. We didn't watch it, so I don't know. I knew they won.
Yeah, I was watching it, but I wasn't as focused. So, I mean, he might pitch better than I thought that he did.
They won 3-2. So, I don't know. But anyway, so then in the second game, they won 8-2. That was...
Okay. I don't know why he'd be up for Player of the Week. Maybe just because
maybe we just didn't
have a great week
poorly because before the
he only pitched 5. That's what I thought. He pitched 5 innings. I remember he walked quite a bit. 5 walks. He did have 7 strikeouts.
What'd you say?
I said, tell us what you really think, Ryan.
It's like Schmidt sucks. No. Well, no. I mean, we did not do very well. So I mean, it could very well be the fact that. Unless I misheard.
By default.
I don't know. Regardless, didn't watch the game. We won. That's all that matters, really.
Must have been a slow week.
I mean, it was in reality. The next game, so because there was a doubleheader, the Yankees called up, you get a 27th man. So they get to call up one person without sending anybody down or anything. So they called up Cody Petit, and he pitched a really, really good game. It
was just confusing.
Yeah, it was confusing, and we'll get into that. But so it was a great game. I was a little scared because it was
his first game back since Tommy John surgery, I believe.
And I was like, oh man, how's this gonna go, minor league? I thought I was like, oh, we're in punt mentality, like here we go. But he pitched really well, 6 innings. I think he had like 7. No, I'm sorry, I'm thinking the wrong thing. He got 4 strikeouts, no walks, so pretty solid start. So we won that game 8-2, lots of offense. I forget how many somebody hit. That's right. Soto had a 3-run home run that game, and so that was a good one.
Yes.
But yeah, the weird thing, like you were mentioning, was that Heel.
It was supposed to be Heel's game.
Yeah, he was supposed to pitch that game, and when that first happened, I wasn't paying much attention. So I was like, okay, well because of the doubleheader, they want to make sure things are lining right and everybody gets normal rest. But really what they did, like Schmidt was the only one that he was supposed to go Friday, so he was pushed to Saturday. Then Heel ended up getting pushed to Monday because we're assuming
they didn't want to mess with.
Yeah,
Cortez.
We're assuming Nestor didn't want to mess with his schedule because
or Cortez
of all
didn't
the
want his.
maybe he didn't want to move.
Yeah,
like whatever reason, Nestor stayed on his normal day rest on Sunday, but they pushed Heel to Monday, which later we find that Heel just kind of has a meltdown
Imploded.
in like the third inning or second inning that game, and so we're all kind of wondering why.
The reasoning to me wasn't all too bad, just because like I get the idea of like you're calling this guy up, you want to be able to use him rather than just putting someone else.
Yeah, you want to save arms where you can because now the schedule just got kind of smushed.
Right.
I would think
it's going to be
would affect the bullpen more.
Right, and so I was surprised that they didn't just start Heel and then throw in Petit
after him
in either of the two games. So if whichever one maybe struggled more, or whoever got the higher pitch count, like.
Have Heel start and Petit come in as a longer
or
reliever.
That Schmidt has difficulty after 70 some pitches, so like if he was getting into that, then you could throw just as a long relief guy. I just was very surprised that they did start him, and then I was surprised that they didn't just move. And again, I think it has to do with Cortez. In my opinion, not that Cortez like adamantly said no or anything like that. I just think that kind of like Stroman was asked, do you want to be the opening day starter? He said, no, I want my...
Right, and like we've talked about...
I know who I already, I already have a game plan.
But Heel's the low man on the totem pole.
Because that's my point, is that Heel also had a game plan. Yeah. And they basically just uprooted that and said, no...
You're going to go against
You're going to go to Toronto, and you, again, good luck. You got 2 days to prep.
Right. And so that does throw off things because pitchers are very regimented. They're very, on day one after my start, I do this. On day two, they'd throw bullpens in between.
So he had 7 days in between.
Yeah. And so
7 days in between his start. And that's not normal. Usually you have at most 6 days in between starts.
Yeah, and he went 5 innings, and honestly, that game that he pitched was...
I was surprised he went to 5 innings.
So bad that he actually ended up being one of the low-key highlights of that game, even though he like had a really...
The first 2 innings were really bad for him, but after the next 3 innings were not too bad.
Yeah, the first, but
the second inning?
The second inning was the meltdown. He struck out the first batter, and then I think he was like having trouble locating his fastball.
Oh, that's what it was. First inning, it was concerning, but nothing happened. I think they got out of it in a jam.
Oh my gosh, I am looking at the wrong damn side. You're right. Okay. I'm looking at our side because I was like, how many pit? Anyway, my bad. Know how to read. You're right. So the first inning wasn't great, but no runs scored. And walk, fielder's choice, caught stealing, and
the caught stealing saved us.
Yes. So
I think that was that Bichette caught stealing?
Yes. Caught stealing I
think it was technically a pickoff. Caught stealing.
Right. Caught stealing is just how you record it in the book. Right. But yes, it was a pickoff, and so that did save us. And because then he struck out the last batter, or no, that was the third out that inning. And then the next inning he comes in, gives up the double, walk. And
he couldn't get it out. And that was after we got a run for him. Like, and again, it's only 1 run, but you kind of hope that when you do get any type of lead,
your starter can at least,
as a pitcher, you shut down in that inning.
Yeah, especially your response back shouldn't be to give up the lead right away.
2 runs,
and he gave up 2 runs. He does get out of the inning with a strike and then 2 ground outs to third. But I think, he had a wild pitch, and so I think really what happened was like just the wild pitch and then the ground outs scored those 2. It was only 2 runs that were scored that inning, even though he started off with did he walk in a run? Yeah, that's right. He walked in a run.
Yeah, I was going to say he walked in one of the runs. He had 7 walks in the game, so it was not his best.
I saw someone post that he was out of hundreds of however many score lines there are for pitchers since they've been keeping track of it. This is the first. His line is the first time that line has been
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently
5 innings.
5 innings,
Well,
3 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, 7 walks, and 6 strikeouts. So I think that's
Interesting.
probably like
I
what
mean, it sounds unique. You probably wouldn't go 5 innings if you gave up 7 runs.
if you
So,
gave and
and
had
somehow only
7
have
walks and still
3 earned runs.
yeah. So I mean, it ended up being weird. He gives up another run in the third inning, and so but he only ends up giving up 3 runs after that
Oh, that's right.
awful.
Marinaccio came in that one. The return
Yes.
of
Yeah,
Ron Marinaccio. He
and
actually didn't do too bad, which was
not at
surprising
all.
because
2 innings pitched.
his
Yeah.
spring training was awful. I mean, that's why he started in the minors because he had like what was it, a 12 something ERA in the minors? It was not
he
good.
wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't brought. It was kind of sad, like because he was so good.
He was a consistent guy in the beginning of last year. I mean,
yeah.
it was so bad last year. He had the sub-4 ERA. But that's because of how well he started the year.
Yeah, he really
and by the end
off.
of it, like you could not like put him out in the field, and then it continued into spring training. So hopefully, if that's how he's going to pitch, moving forward, it'd be nice.
Us to for
especially
that to
when
work.
You don't have lasagna out there anymore. So
yeah, seriously. And Ferguson has been he's the one that gave up
off.
He's the one that the reason we lost in the extra
in
innings
in
Cleveland.
He got helped by some defense that we'll talk about in a little bit too.
The defense did not help at all. When did he come in before? I feel like he didn't. Oh no, and he did come in yesterday's win, right?
I think so.
Oh yeah, yesterday's win, and
there's been games where he's looked really good.
He
and then
seemed a lot better
yesterday.
I wonder if they went back and they, I'm not very good at like pitching analytics, I guess, but I wonder if they went back and they changed his game plan.
No, he did not have a good outing.
He didn't have a good outing yesterday. I feel
2
like it started
earned runs.
Good. Oh, okay. So he didn't finish my score line.
1 hit, 2 runs, 1 walk, 1 K. He gave up a 2-run home run. Yeah. It was basically Hamilton and Victor Gonzalez who kind of came in and they had good outings. I mean, Victor only came in for one.
I guess
pitcher.
I'm just remembering Ferguson coming in, and I think right out. Yeah, he struck someone out. That's what it was. He came in when he comes in the 6th inning, strikeout, fly to center. That went smooth. It's when he comes back out that he gives up the home run, and then walks.
Yeah, he started off that one.
So that's what I'm remembering. Anyway, but yeah, it helps to have Marinaccio, if he's throwing right, it helps him to be in the pen because Ferguson I thought was supposed to be a bit better than what we've seen, and that's concerning. We need our bullpen.
Victor Gonzalez, though, so far this season, I mean, he only threw for one batter yesterday, but this season, I mean, he's got sub 1.5 ERA. He's been doing pretty solid. 1.5. I think he had a shaky first game, and that's why we're like, ooh.
You're right. The last several times he's come in, it's been
pretty solid,
drama free. That's what we like from the bullpen people.
And then who's been incredible in our bullpen so far? Hopefully that continues. Is Megan's favorite closer?
Oh, Clay Holmes. Yes, I did text Ryan the other day. Oh, I guess it was in the Cleveland. I think it was in Cleveland. The loss in the extra innings, but Clay Holmes came in and pretty much shut down that inning. I think there was a little bit of drama in the beginning, but I think that was defense related, and there was a strikeout to end that inning. Fine, if defense is not going to do, just strike him out. And I did text you. I was like, okay, acknowledging Clay Holmes, a strikeout pitcher. Thank you.
Though he did yesterday without a strikeout. He gave up 1 hit. But 3 ground balls, to get him out.
Yeah, acknowledging fully that Clay Holmes has been on point his last several outings. So happy to see.
Which we like that. I mean, that's what we need from him.
Yeah.
He needs to be that. I mean, we don't have any other closer. And I think overall, I mean, we've talked about it before. I think he's been a lot better than what a lot of people think he is, but I also don't think he is as good as one person thinks he is. He's not Mariano Rivera.
No, he's not Mariano Rivera, and we can't expect any of our closers to be like the best closer ever to ever do it. Yeah. So I guess that's fair. And So during the 3-game skid, basically we couldn't hit for shit. Besides the loss in Cleveland was annoying because it was like back and forth, and I feel like we pretty much should have won. Ferguson really shit at this.
Yeah, Volpe came out in the 9th, got a double, RBI double against one of the best closers in
Clase. That's how you say it. Sorry. Yeah.
Emmanuel Clase. He came out and I think I forgot who got Trevino. I think got on base, and then Volpe doubled him in to tie up the game. And then in the next half of the inning, or the next inning, in the 10th, top of the 10th, we got a 2-run single by Rizzo, I believe.
Yeah.
And so it was looking good. And then defensively, I think Torres had just a bad moment with I think bases were loaded. Not bases loaded. It was someone on third, someone on first, and they hit the ball. They played a squeezed infield, so fielders were in to be able to get the force at home.
It was our old buddy Florial was at bat for that one.
Oh, good.
He also hit a home run that game because, of course, he did.
And in the game before.
Yeah, and
he hit 2 home runs in that series.
Dear, did you just realize you are in the MLB?
It happens,
and you can hit because you were really good in AAA. But yeah. He's like, I'm not in the Yankees anymore. I know how to hit again.
I'm playing against the Yankees too, so now I'm Barry Bonds.
Yeah. So Florial hit it
hit a strong RBI ground ball, and it was a strong ground ball. And when you're playing in, it's difficult to make those quick moves. But I mean, the way Torres, it goes underneath Torres, and the way you watch him just like reaching back, he looked like a little bit of like little leaguer kind of like not that he is a little leaguer, but like the way it was doing it awkwardly. And then he's trying to throw it off his back heel.
Not fielding it cleanly. And
no, it was just, it looked bad. And of course that scores the tying run. And then all they need from there is that sac fly.
Yeah, sac fly. Yeah, Hernandez hits a sac fly and it's over. And so, Ferguson was kind of the culprit as far as the line goes because they didn't give Torres an error there.
I mean, it's a tough play to make. It is
a tough play, but like if he doesn't bobble it, I mean, he should be fielding that cleanly. And it wasn't. I don't know how hard it was hit. It wasn't. It was one of those like in between hop. Like yes, it wasn't a easy ground ball to him, but because he bobbled it and didn't field it cleanly, he missed Naylor by like a hair,
an inch. Yeah.
And so that
I mean, Naylor's not a great runner, so he
right.
So I think Naylor got tagged out like on a really boneheaded play earlier that game, or maybe the day before.
Yeah,
where he tried to steal, and basically somebody already knew that's what he was going to try to do, so they got him out.
It was like third. Yeah, it was like third out at third. Like you don't do that.
Yeah. No, very dumb.
Yeah.
So just boneheaded plays to lose that one.
Yeah,
which
unfortunately,
is
just frustrating. A lot of the Torres' defense plays look like there was one in yesterday's, and maybe I'm jumping ahead in our little lineup here, but there's one play yesterday's game. It was like it looks like he's constantly ahead of himself. Like he olayed a ball because he was ready to throw that damn ball before it was in his glove. Like he's already pulling that glove away. Like.
Mm-hmm. He's overthinking. He's we'll get more into why, but I mean he's been overthinking everything.
And he wasn't the only one making defensive
Rizzo's had more. We talked about last week with Rizzo, and it's continued into this week where just missing picks, people getting errors that shouldn't be getting errors. Because the way they make errors is if there's a ball that skips off the ground, even though it should be very pickable for...
Yeah, he's gotten... Yeah, it was like Waldo and Volpe have gotten some errors because he was unable to pick them where if you asked Rizzo, he would tell you that was on him.
That's my error, yeah.
There have been some, easy plays right to him that maybe again were, with the hops and not a clean ground ball, but someone of Rizzo's caliber shouldn't have.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a former, I think multi-time Gold Glove winner,
and
I think you said he was a platinum winner,
one
as well.
Yeah, platinum Gold Glove. We looked at 2015 So, or 2016,
2016.
something like that. So yeah, I mean, so he is known for his defense. Like he's like, we're not talking. This is not Luke Voigt at first base. Like he's.
It's not Jose Abreu. He had an awful error, but there are a lot of people clowning him.
Oh, really?
He had one that you should have seen. That it's more on like it shouldn't be an error because of how horrible the bounce was. The ball skips off the grass, and it, no joke, probably moves in on. So like the ball, like he's going to try to field it here. The ball, like that's where you can see the ball should be going. Well, it redirects and hits him like into the chest, and he's trying to like come up on it, and it spews out. Jose Abreu's been bad, but like when I saw people getting mad at him, like Houston fans getting mad, I was like,
well, Houston's going through a rough time right now.
Yeah, we're not laughing at that.
No, not laughing at them at all. But they are going through a rough time. I mean, it sounds like the clubhouse is,
there's some issues.
Yeah, 2023 Yankees vibes and the in the Houston clubhouse.
There's some issues there. I mean, they've got a lot of injuries, so I'm sure. I mean, they're Houston, so I'm not gonna.
No, don't count
them out. Sure, they'll
somehow
still win the division.
Yeah, don't count them out. I feel like last year they
get
got
a bye on
the
first
start. Year. It just wasn't this bad. It was, but yeah, don't ever count out. So, but yeah, they're going through it right now. So yeah, not the only team with some defensive woes, but Rizzo having these defensive miscues is a little concerning because of the concussion from last year, and is he still having some depth perception issues? But his hitting doesn't seem.
A lot of people are on him about his hitting, and I don't understand this. And this is like, I'm just going to say this real quick about Twitter, because people on Twitter, like,
hot and cold,
they go, we could be winning 10 games in a row, and there are some people out there who'd be finding ways to get pissed off about things. I saw someone who got upset. I think you saw it too. He's the one, he wears the, I forget his name, but his profile picture has like a hoodie on it, and he basically is just a big troll.
He's just negative about everything.
He made some comment. The Yankees won. The Yankees won the game last night, which salvaged basically not being swept by your division rival.
Swept, yeah.
And basically all they did was just like, I think they said comeback vibes or something like that. It was like, that was the Yankees tweet. Something about,
which is what we did. We came back. Yeah.
Comeback vibes or something like that, and you had the team celebrating it, and he was basically, this is pathetic, from the, like, someone should be fired from whatever, and people are like, dude,
calm down,
relax, like, have a chill, can you just be happy
celebrate
for once?
The win, yeah.
And he made some comment about how
12-6, right?
Cleveland is 13-6. Yeah, Cleveland did the same thing, and everybody and all of us on Twitter roasted them. It's like, okay, one, and just so you know, Cleveland, what they did was very different. So they also make comeback win, walk-off win, and which is great for them. But instead of just posting like walk-off vibes, they post straight up, Yankee fans, what are your excuses now?
Yeah, Yankee fans will post their excuses below. Like, wait, are you saying that we should have swept you and we're going to put our excuses of why we didn't? Like, it just came across really like you're not celebrating your own team, and
why didn't you? It
what
just
is this about
weird.
Yankee fans? Like,
we didn't post anything about Toronto. We didn't say, gotcha, Toronto, or something like that. Yeah.
Like, because it looks it looks stupid and bad. Yeah,
it's stupid. It's pathetic to say that. And so, like, comparing the two, we're just like, hey, we celebrated a comeback win.
4 runs in the
what he wanted to say?
I think
about damn time we got a win. Is that what he wanted?
Of course,
Yankees Twitter to say.
That's what he wanted Yankees Twitter to say.
And he's not the only one or the only time that people get negative. But like, my point was with Rizzo. Was that you have people like shitting on Rizzo's hitting. It's like, that's actually the one part of his game right now that's doing decent. He's not hitting, home runs like he used to, but like he's been getting on base.
Bad contact either. Yeah, he's getting on base. He's gotten I think it's he just hasn't gotten extra base hits, which
I mean, he would have been the one who got us the game winning hit had Fergie, Torres, and the rest of the team defense not been absolutely crap in that bottom of the 10th. He was the one who got us up 6-7 to whatever, 7-5 to begin with.
In the Cleveland one?
In the Cleveland one, yeah. He's the 2-run single.
Yeah, that's right. And then and even in the middle game for Toronto, which the whole offense was awful against
Yeah, I mean, I think
Kikuchi.
Michael Kay said that the Yankees left their
Yeah.
bats in customs.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah,
mean,
pretty much. But like Rizzo had at least 2 hits that were robbed from him. One that was absolutely robbed, sliding grab by, I forget who they had in right field at the time, or left field at the time, but sliding grab that would have been like, I think would have started that inning. I don't remember. And there was another fly ball to left field, again another rob ball. So it was like Rizzo's putting the bat on the ball decently well, not anything to like scream about. I
I
think.
mean, he's not going to be player of the week by any means, but
You know,
like, I don't
would
think
love to
that's
see
what.
some more doubles, a home run here or there, but like he's still getting on base, and okay, but his defense, I don't know. So if there's something going on with his depth perception, I really hope somebody is looking into it and not waiting until June to say, oh, by the way, he's still having trouble.
Yeah.
So I guess that's concerning. Our infield, the right side of the infield is their fielding is concerning.
Yeah, because I mean, when you watch, Volpe had an incredible sliding
to save the game. Basically,
yeah, so he basically was sliding to his left, gets the ball going up the middle, makes a spin move, throw in, and yeah, for all the people like going again against Yankee Twitter, who all of last year you heard nothing, even after he won the Golden Glove, Yankee fans still like saying that he's got a terrible arm and should be moved to second because
I will
of how
say
awful he is.
His arm looks improved this year.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have a great arm last year, but like,
you're right.
It's the amount of
way
people
too
who
hostile about it, and it's like he won a Gold Glove. Like he's a good fielder, and if it wasn't for Volpe's defense and Waldo too, he's made some good plays, but definitely Volpe's defense has been a shining light in that infield.
And again, it helped capped off a comeback last night, which was kind of how we capped off the series.
Yes, that comeback was very exciting.
And which was good. I mean, I remember coming into it just thinking of how I was telling LG that, like, if we lose that game, going into Tampa, there's much different vibes. That's a 4-game skid going into
much more pressing
break.
Would be happening. Like,
I think there would be a lot more negativity going around of like, are we back to 2022?
You don't want to get swept by a division rival,
right? And especially after the hot start that we had, and now getting really cold. Now you're going into Tampa, another division rival who we typically struggle against, whether Tampa's good or not. I think New York, whether Tampa has been good or not in the past, like whether it's been a bad year or a good year for Tampa is what I mean, we've struggled against them. So this is a division rival that's like maybe not like the visceral rivalry that the Yankees and Red Sox have, but this is one that, like, I mean, those are always even split games. Like they're tough games.
Rival. Yeah. I mean, so yesterday we were, so going into the 7th inning, we were facing a series.
I think a 4-1 lose,
and it was 4-1 by the 7th inning, and then so in the 8th, Soto comes out and hits a solo home run, and I think Stanton's getting a lot of credit for starting off the 9th inning with the big rally for getting them all sparked, but
Which, by the way, Stanton's been amazing. Last 4 games, I think he's hitting like 350, something like that.
In there. Like he's doing great. I mean, minus that. Why did they send him? What game was that? The first game of the Toronto series. Did you see they sent him on a ball hit to left field, and
and he got
thrown out by a mile. Yeah. It was like, and I think the only reason that.
It's been a little bit.
Or no, he didn't get thrown out. He was safe. But the only reason he was safe, they dropped the ball. Oh. And he went around him. So was it not the Toronto, or maybe that was I don't know.
I remember there was a time where he moved in, and I think there was a joke. He was safe because there was a joke on Twitter. It was like, Stanton's the fastest man alive or something like that.
Well, I was just like, wow. Like, why did they send, I think I tweeted, I was like, why did they send him there? Like, he's not, like, Stanton is not much faster than 2023 Stanton. Like, why are we cannot send him on that.
He's a little bit, I mean, last year Stanton, let's not forget how slow 2023 Stanton
but he's not that much. I mean, he didn't go from Stan 2020 to Volpe or anything.
No.
He was still pretty slow.
But he did score on I think during when we were like winning a lot of games earlier on. He scored like from second to home on a play where it was like he would never have made that last year.
Yeah, last year he was station to station. You got second, third, stop. Don't get out.
And he's been looking smooth running too. He doesn't he's not pulling up. And
it was certainly better. It was just very clear. Like when I saw him being sent, I was like, the left fielder already has the ball. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And so if they hadn't dropped that ball at home, he would have been out by a mile.
Yeah.
So, but regardless, Stan's been doing great. He started on the 9th inning off with a solo home run. But the previous inning, Soto was pretty much the only person hitting. And I really thought, I was like, okay, great. There's Soto hitting a home run. That's beautiful. But is anybody else going to do anything? And then Stan answered, yes, absolutely.
Yep.
So then they scored 4 runs.
I think that is the biggest difference. And that's why Soto has to be a priority.
He's such a difference maker.
This is another thing that I saw the same guy who I'm talking about. He was complaining about Soto basically not going to be the priority for the Yankees, that they're going to sign Torres no matter what, no matter if he's bad or not. It's like, how do you the Yankees?
Some people just have really bad takes.
Yeah, apparently. He's definitely trolling. I'm pretty sure he's trolling, but
it's gotta be.
Soto is going to be the Yankees' number one priority.
Cashman has given everyone
do you know how much they traded away?
Right, for him? Yeah.
They're not just going to let him walk after 1 year for...
Yeah, I know we all hate Cashman, but he's not that stupid. His number one priority is going to be Soto in the offseason. Not a guarantee that he comes back to the Yankees, but it's going to be his number one priority. And anybody that thinks that Torres is going to be his number one priority at all, or even a priority, is...
If he was a priority, he would have re-signed him on the offseason because Torres wants to be in New York.
Yeah, Torres has said time and again he wants to stay. So, that probably means he will take less money to stay, and they still they haven't done it. And that, again, also not out of the question that he stays. Who knows? You never know. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it's just, if you think that they're going to prioritize Gleybor Torres over Juan Soto,
it's very silly.
Wake up. That's really dumb. They didn't talk to we got a very sad quote from Gleybor Torres before the season started about how nobody contacted him about an extension yet.
Right, because they're saving up money. They're going to get Soto first, and then they'll be like, all right, then we'll figure out the rest later. Left.
Yeah.
So anyway, the point is that Soto in that lineup, I think, makes a big difference as far as the vibes to be able to come back. I think last year he had a 4-1 in the 8th, we're done.
Oh, yeah. It was, down by 3 runs, that's insurmountable last year, for sure. Soto had what did they say yesterday? I think it broke in Tuesday's game because he didn't get a walk, but he had a walk in 15 straight games or something. Must have been going back to the last previous season or something.
It can't be last 15 games because there was one game he didn't get on base at all, and that was the one that we were talking about. That was confused.
Those Tuesday's game. That's what Michael K said. That was the day it broke.
I thought it was before then, but okay.
But he definitely didn't. I remember
there was a very long period of time where he got on base somehow for a long stretch dating back to last year. But I thought it broke before then. But regardless,
Michael K mentioned something about on base and then walks.
He gets on base insane to an insane amount.
He walks all the time. He has such a good eye. And I know there was somebody on, was it WFAN? Did we talk about it last week that blew his gasket?
Yeah, Sal something.
Yeah, he's
a Mets fan. He also
Soto got a walk.
He also thinks that Soto's going to sign with the Mets, guaranteed.
Mets fans are pretty delusional about that. I don't know why you would go play for the little brother team when you're on the Yankees and you see how good it is. But anyway, I forgot what I was going to say. But
the Sal being annoyed of his taking a walk when you have Judge sitting right behind you, and it worked this time.
Yeah, it definitely worked this time. So Soto gets a walk, Judge comes up, hits a 2-run seeing eye double, almost really just fair. Or at least in live, it looked like when they replayed it. I was
how Judge Judge drew it up. He wanted
He
it to
knew
be
it
that
was,
close.
right
That's
there,
what Judge was doing.
right down the line.
It was good to see Judge
runs.
though get a good double there because he's been struggling. I mean, he's under the Mendoza line right now, but I mean, it'll come back. He seems like he's got good swings in there. Like it's not like he's striking out. You know,
he doesn't seem injured. He doesn't seem like he's favoring something. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
I just think he's not seeing things exactly the way he wants to right now. Is what my guess is, and that's maybe just me being hopeful. But
yeah, I maybe just trying to play catch up. You know, he did miss how many 9 or 10 games in spring training, which for batters probably isn't that big of a deal. But maybe he's just still trying to like find that timing, and it's still trying to catch up.
Yeah,
if we're still having this conversation next month, then maybe you worry. But like, I just don't see Judge being in a rut like this for too long, and maybe that RBI double, 2 RBI double at the end of the game will, shake things loose, and we'll go on a tear of multiple home runs, and be like, there he is.
Well, moving on, I think, real quick to cap things off, another, we talked about it with the Cleveland one, but another shutdown save from home. So he's got 7 saves this season, 7 appearances. Oh, sorry, not 7 appearances because he can't. I think he has 8 appearances. One of them was in that 9th inning where he shut. Situation. Yeah, it wasn't a save situation. It was in the Cleveland game where we lost in extras. But anyway, a 0-run ERA so far this season. He closes out. I think this time he did get it with 3 ground balls in this one yesterday. But that's the way we close the comeback with a save from Clay Holmes. So, infield
pop single,
pop up. Okay.
Pop up a single. I missed how Springer got out. I just wrote 2 for the second out, and then a ground ball. So maybe Springer got a ground ball.
I thought it was 2 ground balls then, I guess, at the end. That. But yeah, infield. We talked a little bit about how the infield has been hot and not. And so basically it's the right side, Cabrera and Volpe. We talked a bit about Volpe. He's now a leadoff hitter, which he's actually done pretty well in, though he had one game where he had 4 strikeouts. Outside of that, Volpe's actually been looking pretty good at leadoff. He's seeing a lot of pitches, getting on base where he should, getting some stolen bases.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were concerned about moving Volpe up so early, and things are going well. Why are we changing the lineup? But like, Torres was not doing that well as a leadoff hitter, and Volpe sees a lot of pitches, which is really
and that's what you need from a He's not the same hitter from last year, and I know like some of the worries are that it's going to kind of screw up, what is going on. Which you could argue the fact that we're not winning as many games as early in the season is part of that. But in my opinion, we were never going to win the way we were at the beginning of the season. You don't win 80 games in a season. If you're lucky, you win 55% of your games in a season. That gets you around 90 wins. So
sure.
There's going to be a slip in our winning.
Yeah, and you weren't going to go 800% or 80% winning percentage the entire time. The Volpe did swing and miss at a few more pitches, so it could be that he was trying to, press a little bit more to get on base or something. But
especially when the bats were cold, like you probably do press
to do something
in general a little bit more. But I still think even in those strikeouts, they weren't like last year. Like they were bad, but they weren't like as atrocious.
At something like a foot off the plate bad or I agree. And so his defense has been great. Waldo has continued to hit and hit and hit, and
his defense has been okay. I think he had one blunder that shouldn't have. It was the one where Torres decided to go to third for trying to do a force play.
Yeah,
which I mean, in my opinion, that people were really mad at Torres for that, and I'm like, okay, I know like Torres has been really bad defensively, but his momentum at second base is moving towards third. You have a guy who's right there, and if
Waldo
Cabrera was not so slow, Waldo wasn't so slow getting that tag down, he's out. And then Torres looks
he's
amazing.
He's a genius, amazing, awesome, and I think
so like Torres probably could have used that.
It was a good heads up play, I think. Ultimately, I do understand the criticism of you've been having defensive trouble, get the sure out at first.
Right.
But I'm not gonna be mad at him for trying to get the lead runner at third if Waldo makes a tag, if Waldo makes that tag, it's an amazing play, and we're talking about this differently.
Right.
It just so happens it has been surrounded by other errors and boneheaded plays by Torres.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, speaking of Cabrera, though,
he had some really good
he's had really good
in
throws
yesterday's game.
I've been impressed with his arm. Like, he's got a good strong arm, which is, we knew that kind of from the outfield, but we haven't seen it much at third base. And because you don't only need to have a good arm, you need to have an accurate throw too. You have a little bit more leeway with accuracy problems from the outfield, but not from third base. So good to see him there. But not only has he been good, I mean, he's been okay, good defensively. He's been great offensively. Yeah. And one of the things that, like, I saw this, it was I'm not going to go too off topic here, but it reminded me of like that butterfly string effect thing, where it's like, people who know will know what I'm talking about here. But 9/11 caused the downfall of Ellen. There is basically a string that leads to all those things. Well, signing Corey Kluber led to Oswaldo Cabrera being good. So we signed Kluber. Kluber has a cutter, which he calls the Kluber ball or whatever. I guess it cuts like slightly differently. And he taught that pitch to Michael King. Michael King obviously became very good for the Yankees. He would have been a starter this year for the Yankees, but we traded him to he was the main package. He was part of the deal package to get Soto. And Soto, I think, has taken a pretty big mentorship of Oswaldo. I think a lot of times if you watch when they're showing Soto in the clubhouse, if he's not with Judge, talking with Judge, you see Oswaldo Cabrera kind of sitting, talking with him, and Torres as well, like getting. I would hope that hopefully Torres also picks up on some Soto things, but Oswaldo Cabrera has, and you can definitely see a big difference.
He's also, I think
he's very patient at the plate. Sorry.
No, it's okay. As I think I mentioned it last week, it was just like he had interrupted, like Meredith wanted to talk to him, and he was like, "Not yet, not right now. I'm going to go watch Soto in the batting cage." So like he's trying to learn.
Yeah, he's learning what he can from Soto, which has been really, really cool.
It seems like it. I mean, if that's the reason that we've got Waldo hitting 309 batting average,
he's got 3 or 4
on
home
base
runs.
Percentage. 3 home runs, 17 hits. His WAR is already 0.5. Like,
he looks great. I mean, this is kind of the guy we got to see for like 2 weeks in 2022.
His OPS plus is 156, right? So like 100 is league average. That's how that works. So 156 is
OPS plus, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, OPS plus.
So I thought you said OPS. So I was like, wow. I thought you meant 1.560, and I was like,
sorry.
Jesus, that's high.
Damn. No. No, his OPS plus is 156.
Yes,
so that's
league average
is a relativity or relative stat based on the rest of the league, and
that's much higher than average. Yeah.
So I mean, his OPS is 895.
I mean, he's actually hitting good from the right side of the bag too. I know a lot of people, I think we even talked about that he should be hitting as a lefty. He got a couple of hits yesterday as a righty, or the other day as a righty. So he decides a couple, here and there on like certain lefty pitchers, he will hit lefty. He will always swing lefty against a righty pitcher, but there are some here and there against lefties where he will like go lefty. Even on his righty ones, he's been hitting very well. So those are very good things when it comes to him, and I really like Soto's influence there. I think a lot of the criticisms that Soto got when he was with the Padres was his lack of leadership. I think he infamously had an interview where he basically said there's no leadership here or something. What was it? Like, it was something along that line.
I remember we talked about this last year, and like in one of the pods, because it came
Yeah.
up.
And we said hopefully
kind of big
Judge
news.
can
Well, I
fix
remember
that.
specifically saying like that's not going to fly. Like he can't say stuff like that. That can't
Right.
fly. And then we were both like, well, maybe he wouldn't need to do that because Judge is the leader. He has a clear leader here, and he doesn't need to.
And we also knew that like Rizzo was at that time a very good
like the
lieutenant.
And yeah.
And so
there are multiple leaders, and so Soto can be the leader of the young Waldos and Torres, and
when you look at the Padres, that is probably
along.
their biggest issue. And it's not like, and I think Machado can be a good leader at times with the Padres, not to go too off on a tangent with the Padres. Just when you look at the talent they had, for them not doing as well as they did last year shows, and it wasn't like they had health issues. Like, and I'm not making excuses. The Yankees had health issues. Judge was out for a substantial amount of time. I mean, we had other issues too that went from the front office down. You can watch plenty of our angry pods to know why we had so many issues. But the Padres really didn't have that. They had the talent. They had relatively healthy players all season. Tatis was a golden platinum glove last year.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Like, and that's crazy.
Ring was behind him.
Oh yeah.
Joking.
Sorry. Yeah, I was just saying that. Like, I mean, he moved to right field last year, and he won a Gold Glove and Platinum Glove out there. So I mean,
I didn't realize he won Platinum Glove out there.
Yeah, I just found out that today while we were looking up Rizzo.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I mean, so they have the talent there, and so it definitely speaks to the level of leadership or lack thereof that they had at that time. And maybe with some of the changes that they made this season, or maybe some of the players got better with it, and you'll see a different team. They look different this year too.
Yeah, that's true. And I think it also shows how important Judge's leadership is, regardless of what he's doing on the field. Like, I mean, obviously you want Judge to be Judge on the field, but I'm just like, separate from that, Judge is he's a captain. Leader in the he's captain for a reason, and all
of his guys would die, like would die for him. They would go to jail for him. They would, he's the guy that I think some of them said, like, if we were going to jail, he'd be the guy that I'd call or something. Like, wasn't one of them make some, like, it was a little odd comment to talk about going to jail, but like,
I don't know.
If there was something, if there was an issue, they could call Judge, and Judge would be the guy to, like.
Right, Judge isn't there going to jail with them, but he'll bail him out. Is that what?
I know something.
I don't know.
I'm misremembering the quote, but it was basically just speaking to how good of a friend, how good of a person Judge is. That he is.
Sure. Yeah, he is.
He's the guy.
Well, and what's also cool, he's always the last one in the dugout. We always know that. He waits for everybody to get off the field first, and he's the last one in. Soto's always now the second to last one in. So, like, out of respect for Judge, he lets him be last, but he's also trying to be the, like, a lieutenant type leader, I guess.
Yeah.
And so that's great to see. And I think that's a big reason why the 3-game skid didn't turn into a 4-game skid, or like just the
I mean, his influence on the team has been impactful, not only just on the hitting side of things, but I think the hitting side comes from just of what he brings to the team. I mean, again, he's talking with Oswaldo, he's talking with these other guys, and that's something that you want from a player of that talent.
Yeah.
So. And so it does pose a really interesting question. So DJ LeMahieu, we have good news with him. He was in the clubhouse for most of the week this week with Toronto. You got to see him in the dugout a few times when they panned over. But he will begin his rehab assignment this weekend. I'm not sure if they have a day specific. They might, but I know it's supposed to be this weekend.
Did they even say where he was going? Because I thought it was like potentially the AA.
I thought it was
to Somerset. Yeah, okay. I didn't know if that was decided or not, but
I don't know if it is, but that's what I've heard. Is that it's starting this weekend in AA. He'll probably play a couple games there, and then he'll probably play another 2 or 3 games. In AAA.
In AAA. Okay, yeah, I heard 5 games was all he needed. I don't know if
that
came
might
from
be
DJ
him,
or I don't know. But
so it could be more, but that's what I had heard. So anyway, within the next time we pod, the next time we pod will be just right after Tampa series. So there'll be nothing, but maybe the time after that, we might have seen DJ's return, his 2024 season debut.
Yeah, so we'll
and
have
so
some
what
moves.
will happen? Because
Yeah. Well, I think the move to get him back on the roster is Jahmai Jones.
Yes.
They haven't played him. He's only been pinch run
One
time,
time,
two times,
couple times. Yeah, they haven't really.
Yeah, I mean, Jahmai Jones is going to be out. I mean, that's obvious. I don't even know why they keep him up. I mean, I know why they keep him up because they have
for Stanton.
Yeah, they have him up for a reason, but I haven't seen him much at all.
Yeah, they're not putting him in.
So yeah, the most likely, I mean, that's not even most likely. That is what will happen.
Going down.
He's going down or getting cut or something.
Do they need to make another move? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But the John Birdie, what's his first name? Birdie.
John.
Is it John? Okay, John Birdie is on the 10 or 15-day
10-day IL. Yeah.
So I think somebody else would, once he comes off, would need to vacate. Yes. Right.
Yeah. Well, didn't they call somebody up? I thought they called up Kevin Smith, so he's out.
Kevin Smith was just put down, just DFA'd today. They picked up someone.
Trammell. That's right. Okay, so Trammell.
Dad's comment went through my head, and I was like, "Wonder this is like Alan Trammell's grandson." Yeah. I don't know if it is or not, but that was my. Anytime a Trammell came up, he was like, "I was related to Alan Trammell." So sorry,
but
yeah.
So
we picked him up from the Dodgers and DFA'd. Kevin Smith.
That's right. But that was the initial move when he got to the the IL. Kevin Smith was moved up, but yes, Trammell.
Well,
I think
and maybe they picked
him
up Trammell because they don't have any options with Kevin Smith because they DFA'd him. So
yeah, I'm sure that's part of it. I mean, he's a veteran.
Oh, okay.
He signed a minor league. He's technically a veteran. He's not been a good veteran.
Probably doesn't have options. So
I don't think he does because he signed a minor league deal in the offseason. And then when you call somebody up, that minor league deal turns into a major league deal and they don't have options. So I'm pretty sure that's how that works. So yeah, they had a DFA him. They take, what's his name?
Trammell.
And so in order to move Trammell down, though, now because of the way they got him off of waivers, I think he has to be on the 26-man roster until...
Oh, okay.
And then he might have to clear waivers again. Unless I'm wrong there, because, again, that's all confusing stuff there. But anyway, so there'll be another move when John Birdie comes off, but I think it'll probably be Trammell going down. Okay. Unless they're trading Grisham in that time, which I don't think is going to happen.
Doubtful. Yeah, I doubt it.
So,
but there will be some moves or decisions to be made. If
who
Waldo
starts?
wasn't being Waldo right now, DJ would just plop into third. Waldo would be the rotator guy, and
they want.
Torres would be at second. Yeah, which was
is
the
what
game
they
plan.
Want Oswaldo to be. They want him to be the rest giver.
He can play everywhere.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
But he's playing so well that. He's playing so well that I don't see a way that he should be out, and so
our producer can't hear us. We'll just keep talking. Haha. You're good. Just keep talking.
So he
unplugged it.
Oh.
Oh. Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry. I thought he had a
back-to-back weeks with headphone issues. At least it wasn't me this time. It's usually me. Anyway, so Torres has not been hitting well. Oswaldo has. Oswaldo's been. We just talked about how well he's been hitting. If DJ comes back, my assumption is initially DJ and I hope my assumption is right here. Waldo needs to remain the starter unless he has an epic fall off over the next 2 weeks where he can't hit anything. Oswaldo has earned a starting spot, a regular starting spot. And I think his switch hitting bat is something that is valuable in our lineup as well. So I think he has to be a mainstay there. And then I think it's going to have to be DJ because DJ is not going to be 100% coming up day one. So I think DJ and Torres are going to have to rotate until one of them is obvious that is better than the other, and the other guy is coming up. And I I hate to say it because I think there's more to talk about with Torres, but if DJ is hitting well, Torres has to be on the bench because he cannot get out of his head. And it's a disappointing thing because Torres last year was our second best hitter. Over the last 4 years, he's always in our top, 3 or 4 hitters on the team. And, I think you just talked about how much of a clubhouse guy he is, where everybody loves him in the clubhouse. He's always around people,
Gleybor.
but
yeah, I mean Gleybor, everyone, they're all very friendly. Like Gleybor been part of the organization forever. So my fear of trading Gleybor Torres or anything, I totally hear everyone when he's not hitting. He's feeling bad. He's a hole right now.
Yeah, well, I'm not even getting into the trading name. Just bench the dude. Yeah.
Well, right. But sorry. But benching him first, benching him is the right move. My only concern there is that it's just going to make him go spiral further. He can't keep holding his hand though.
No.
So
and that's my issue with him.
He needs to figure out what the issue is.
And I don't mean to say this in a harsh way. Just grow up. I don't know what it's like to play professional baseball, but there are plenty. Go get a sports psychologist. There are plenty of people. I don't know if he does that or not, but he needs to do something.
He may, and who knows? We don't know what they go through. I'm sure he knows that this is a part of his game that is. A lot of people keep calling him a space cadet, and I don't know if that's very fair for him to be called a space cadet.
I don't even know what that means. What is that?
You're spacey, and you make dumb decisions because you're on the base paths and you run right into an out. Or
gotcha. Yeah, I don't think that's fair to say. I think he plays with his emotion. He's an emotional player. If he is feeling good and confident, he will hit 3 home runs in one game and have the most outstanding defensive plays. When it's not going well and he's getting in his head, he's going to hit under 200 and have errors.
This is a little bit why I wasn't keen on. I knew why they were putting him in the leadoff spot to begin with. DJ was hurt. We weren't trusting
Volpe
to be a good leadoff.
Spring training as well.
He had a great spring training because spring training's relaxed, and so I think he hits the best when he's relaxed. But putting him in the number 1 spot, it wasn't really about. I thought he was doing a pretty decent job in the first few games of trying to see pitches. Maybe not. Well, yeah, exactly what you want, but he was doing a decent job.
At the beginning of the season when you saw him in leadoff was when he has to be moved down, it's going to create an issue, and it
has, and it's just I don't know what it is. He's never really done stellar at the leadoff spot. I don't know.
He's not a guy who just doesn't see a lot of pitches. He likes to swing early and.
Yeah, and which is not who you want as a leadoff. But I think he started off by doing decently well. But then once he got into a rut of he's not hitting, then he gets in his head, and then he can't hit, and he can't get out of that. And now he's being moved down in the lineup, and now it's affecting him on the field, and it's just getting worse, and he's not hitting. Now he did have, I think on one of the days when I was looking back through all the hits, he had the one a hit. I think with the Toronto game that we only scored 1 run, he had a single and Waldo hit him in, and that was the only offense that game. So so it's not like he's doing nothing. I do think a lot of times sometimes the bad stuff really overshadows, but I mean he's hitting 208, on base percentage is 318. We're boring our producer. He's over here watching videos on his phone. And so on base ring call you out.
That's not exactly what I was doing.
Well, that's all I heard. Anyway, he needs it's just not working, and that's why he was moved down. I also think I hope that they don't move Volpe out of the leadoff spot, and I think Boone.
Oh yeah, that's a good point too. I wasn't even thinking there yet, but yeah.
I think Boone mentioned that they weren't necessarily going to move Volpe.
Yeah, I don't think DJ deserves to be day one back be opening. He's never really I know. One, we did not know if Volpe was going to make that next step. It was always clear that Volpe should be he is the prototype of a guy who should be leadoff. He's very Jeter prototype. He's got speed. He plays good defense despite what people think. Both of them.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they're both overrated defensive players, but they somehow
Plenty
are
of people who
good
can't
on
make
defense.
that Jeter throw. So,
but anyway, speed, gets on base, good defense. I mean, that's not really defense. Is not really important for leadoff, but gets on base, good contact, sees a lot of pitches, and has speed. He did not have the issue last year is he did not have the sees a lot of pitches.
He was swinging, missing in a lot of
freely
things.
at everything. So they didn't know he was going to make that next step this season. So obviously it was like, okay, is it going to be Verdugo,
and
DJ LeMahieu,
right, we were having that conversation? What was going to happen?
Torres?
And DJ was doing before he fouled the pitch off of his foot.
He was playing decently well during spring.
Yeah, I was like, okay, if this is how DJ's going to hit, he can stay in the leadoff spot. Great. And we can get Volpe comfortable with moving back up. But then that, he gets injured, so Torres gets put in. So I understand, but now that Volpe has excelled in that spot, I mean, his on-base percentage is .410. And before the season started,
taking walks, like he's getting...
Yeah. Boone's goal for on-base percentage before the season started, which is probably most
360?
350, 360, something like that. And so he's well past that. .410 on-base percentage is
And I think
excellent.
that DJ has struggled recently with his hitting. And so it doesn't make sense to just give... Like, it's not like we're talking about a guy who's still playing like it's 2020, where he's leading the league in on-base and batting average. Like, that's just not... where he is. Right, it's not where he's been.
He's 36, right? I mean,
he's at least
35,
maybe
36,
maybe younger.
Like
that's the high end is probably 36. But yeah, I mean, he's older. He's not hitting as well. He's not getting on base as much. Let the young guy who's obviously proven that he deserves it. Again, just as Waldo is proving that he should be the starter, like be an everyday starter at either third or second base. I don't see a problem with moving. If you're going to bench Torres, I don't see a problem with moving Waldo to second and leaving DJ at third, but I think Oswaldo's played a very good third base as well.
I think Waldo has done an excellent job of making this a very hard decision. My fear is that the Yankee way will
take
over, and because Torres
this was
veteran,
the plan, and so the plan is that
they will go back to the plan, which
in general
is fine, but like
in the same way though, I think that Volpe has earned the right to hang on to that leadoff spot, because we were talking about earlier was the one where Judge's 3-run home run was produced by a walk from Volpe. I think he might have had a steal, maybe not, but
maybe not. Yeah,
I thought. Remember. Anyway, at least a walk from Volpe, a single from Soto, and then a 3-run home run. If we want to talk about the plan, when you got Soto, that was the plan. Guys gets on base, Soto gets on base, Judge hits a 3-home run. That was the whole point. That's why we put Soto ahead of Judge.
That's how it was drawn up, absolutely. So, and despite an abysmal series by all the whole team, really, but like a Volpe, whatever in Toronto, I don't know how many hits he got overall, but nobody hit well in Toronto.
No.
And his batting average is still 324. Like he struck out 4 times in one game, and his batting average is still 324. So I think, and again, on-base percentage speaks volumes. He needs to stay at leadoff.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting for sure when DJ comes back. A lot of that is going to change depending on what happens in his return. Again, I think it's going to be about a week and a half before we see him. Early as a week, could be as late as 2 weeks, depending on how he's doing in the minors. But so a lot can change on this topic in general. To finish off with the Torres conversation, because you kind of mentioned it with the trade, and I know where you're going with it, is that, when this is kind of more, again, this is going to be a conversation for later down the road, but it's being talked about now. What do we do with Torres? Torres, just so everybody's on the same page, Torres is on his final year on the team. The Yankees have multiple people who could potentially be free agents, which includes Cole and Rizzo, but they're both options.
We have a team.
I think they're both club options, so the Yankees can pick up their options rather than being player options. But I don't think Cole or Rizzo would go anywhere anyway. But yeah, I mean, I think Holmes is also an unrestricted free agent.
I'll say Loizaga, but that doesn't really
Loizaga,
matter
but
much.
not anymore. There was another one who is a free agent.
I think Verdugo's a free agent.
Verdugo is, yes.
There's a lot of free agents at the end
several.
of the year. Yeah.
And so Torres is, I was just going to say, Torres, like we were just talking about, Torres is not the priority. Obviously, it's going to be Soto as the priority. I think if Holmes continues to be who he is, the start of this year, I think Holmes is priority number 2. And then after that, like, Verdugo is not even. What money do we have
less? Let's see.
Yeah, right. I think Verdugo is an afterthought because with Jason and Spencer Jones, I think are going to be. I think they have plans for them to be starters next year in some way.
Verdugo is your stopgap left fielder. He's an actual stopgap.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, point is that Torres is down the totem pole of those who are going to be re-signed, and the more he struggles like this, the more down that totem pole he goes. So the question is, if this is still happening by June and July, we already know Torres in the last 2 seasons has almost been traded. I think twice almost to Miami.
It seems to be. Definitely last year. That was the rumors.
Well, the Monty one, he was almost traded like right after Monty. Like that was the whole thing. Is the Yankees were trying to get a starting pitcher to replace Monty, and then they didn't, and then they try to gaslight us into believing that they were never trying to get a pitcher.
This was the plan all along.
Yeah. We just wanted to get rid of a pitcher. So I think your point was towards that Monty thing, because obviously the Monty thing happened. We got a player in return that was basically was injured. I mean, I like Bader. I got a Bader jersey, unfortunately, but he came in injured, and so you traded away a guy who was pitching decently well, liked by the ball club, and
he's a Yankee. He's a homegrown Yankee.
And you traded him for an injured,
someone who can't help
defensive player.
Yeah, and he did end up helping the team later in the season. Don't want to discredit that, but we were already pretty much like limping into the playoffs at that point, and the vibes after Monty was gone was just, you would have thought they took all of their dogs and shot them. Like sorry, but like
that's the way. I mean, you can see like there are memes of it of like you'll see. There's one I remember. I think we're playing Oakland. You have Aaron Hicks, Josh Donaldson, and DJ LeMahieu all sitting there, and they're just
sad puppies.
Like, I mean, it's not like even just kind of like, oh, it was a bad timing of the picture. No, I think that was actually a video, and they were for like 10 seconds sitting like moping.
So that's my concern with trading Gleybor Torres, and that I get the comments that might come thrown back at me, like you shouldn't care about that. We're winning games, but team chemistry is an important thing. So
sure,
I think that's just something to consider, and maybe hopefully just handle better.
My only retort with it is, if Torres is playing good, then he shouldn't be traded. And that's what Monty was doing. He was playing good. If Torres is playing like crap, and there's a team that's like, we'll give him a try, and we can get something to help out, then, if it's something that will help. Something in relief, another arm in the rotation if there's injuries.
If it makes sense, then do it. It's just,
I
just think it's a little too early to have this conversation, because this could just change.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, if he next week starts to get his head out of his butt and is he hits 5 home runs in 1 week, we are going to be saying like, oh, he needs to be re-signed for.
He couldn't hit Bassett, Kikuchi, or Gossman. But you know what? The Yankees can never hit Bassett, Kikuchi, and Gossman. Like, they just can't. It's just except the first game of the series with Gossman, but I guess he was coming off of a short spring training.
Yeah.
So I think we give Torres more time. Obviously, I'm not saying you think we should trade him now. There are some people that
some people want him gone now. I don't think that's the case. It's just I definitely think that like I said, when DJ comes back, if he's still hitting like this, he's my pick to be on the bench. If I'm the manager, you're benched until you figure yourself out, Torres. That's where you are.
Clearly, you need to clear your head, get in the batting cage and figure out what the heck's going on and fix yourself, because you're a much better hitter than you have shown. And
I mean, he is a good hitter.
It's just in there. And hopefully I would, I knew pushing him down the lineup was going to make him get in his head, but I do hope ultimately pushing him down the lineup allows him to get the pressure off of himself.
Yeah, he doesn't have. You don't have to be the leadoff guy. You don't like that's not what you're supposed to be.
Like, he's trying to get his first home run. He's trying to get his first home run. It's like, if he's trying to get his first home run, this is the problem. Like, we don't need him to try to get his first home run. We have Soto, Judge, and Stanton on our team. We're good. Just get a hit, get on base.
Yeah.
He hits home runs, awesome. But I just need him to hit.
Yeah, absolutely. Hit. And that's what, like, you should be the type of guy who's just trying to hit line drives and make the mistake every now and again that ends up being a home run.
Yeah.
So, moving on, talking about Torres being potentially fired. There's another person who should be fired. You like my transition there? Angel Hernandez. I could go on many rants on any days, but this last one, I mean, I wish that we could have. Thank you. I wish that we could have pulled up the audio of the Rangers Houston game where
I missed the audio.
Oh, the audio is great. So basically, just to some context here. So we already talked, I think, last week a little bit about
Langford.
Angel Hernandez. Yeah, we talked about Wyatt Langford and Aaron Hernandez previously on this podcast about how exciting of a prospect Wyatt Langford is. He's a former Gator, and Angel Hernandez is a really horrible umpire. Who had even issues against Torres and Volpe during games that he was umpiring last time. Well, Wyatt Langford is up at the plate. I believe J.P. France is pitching for Houston, and J.P. France throws his first ball outside of the plate, and it's called a strike. And so, I mean, smart on J.P. Langford, he decides, well, I mean, if he's going to call it a strike off the plate, I'll throw there again and just throw it a little bit more. Yeah, so he throws it a little bit more off the plate. He calls it a strike again. And the announcers are kind of like, oh, that's another one off the plate. Like that, that's not, they're kind of talking a little bit about, some of the issues with Angel Hernandez. I can't remember.
Well, I guess Texas, huh? But Texas Rangers, I mean, yeah.
I can't remember specifically. There's a part of me that feels like it was just like a ESPN type of, like maybe not ESPN like specifically, but like, but I could be wrong there. But whoever the announcers are, I mean, even if you're a Houston Astros announcer, you got to be looking at this as bad. But yeah, the third pitch gets even worse. It is, and it not even just worse, it is the worst. On ump scorecard history, where since they've been keeping track of the umpire's scores, it is the worst call outside of the strike zone, 6.78 inches off the plate. I mean, that is basically in the lefty batter's box.
I remember seeing the sequence, and it was just like, that last one was in the batter's box.
Through,
what are we doing?
And he like gives his big strikeout call. That's when the announcers were like, "You have got to be kidding me!" Like, if you haven't seen it, you got to watch it. I mean, they are livid.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, I guess I just watched it with the sound off, but I bet it'd be real entertaining.
And I mean, they're like, "You have got to be kidding me!" Like, that's what they're like. They're screaming out with that. Like, I mean, it's bad. Like I mean, even for Angel Hernandez, that was bad. And so. A lot of people are talking about how he should be fired, that he needs to be gone. Obviously, we all know he should be fired. Like, there's not really a question, should Angel Hernandez be fired?
Angel Hernandez has been the joke of the league for umpires
and it's
over a decade.
And when it's fans complaining about it, that's one thing. Fans are always going to complain about calls, but even the players don't like him. I think Cliff had posted an old clip of Phillies Schwarber, Kyle Schwarber.
Kyle Schwarber, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it was, I don't remember if it was from the playoffs or it was from a pretty intense game, and he was calling bad calls everywhere. And he's animated. He's like, you've been missing high, you've been missing low, you've been missing out, you've been missing on this side, you've been missing on that side. He's animated. And he's like, and I think he's like, do better. Like, yeah.
Yeah, whatever he said.
Yeah, because he throws the bat as soon as like the bad call happens, and he knows he's thrown out. So he's just like, fine, I'm going all in.
So, and he's not the only one.
What happens after an ejection? Like, oh, okay, I'm ejected. All right, let me tell you what I really think.
Yeah. So he
has
Schwarber
angered several
isn't the only one.
Baseball players. And Wyatt Langford, he's a rookie, and probably wasn't going to argue those first two strikes. The
first two calls.
Strikes. But like, it's just it's very bad. You're taking
and part of it
out
too
of the batter's
is like
hand.
The batter is also not changing their view.
Why
because
would they?
There shouldn't I know
Wyatt Langford literally cannot hit a ball that is 6.78 inches
off the plate.
He literally cannot hit that. That's why it's a ball,
right?
Because it's not really a hittable pitch.
Right.
So you're taking any opportunity out of, especially all three of those pitches. You're just
I remember Betty used to tell us. Betty's our stepmom. She used to umpire for many different games from Little League all the way up to college games. I think she's told both of us while we were playing that the umpire, you have to learn the umpire's strike zone, and and if you know that ball is going to be called strike, then you're going to need to swing at it, adjust to it. But
or don't let the umpire dictate the game, which. Okay. Yes.
Right.
And in general, yes, that is good advice. And if we're talking like, I
would love to get her input on how bad Angel Hernandez is and see what because I can understand it if it was like, okay, like maybe he doesn't call, or maybe he does call the top edge, because there's always those edge pitches where do we call it if it's touching
it right here? Well, not up here. Sorry, I'm just kind of like up, but
right.
Is it like right on the top of the zone? Is he's calling all of those?
Is he calling across the letters, or is he calling across the armpits? Is he calling across the?
We're talking
whatever
a small variation from the actual strike zone. Like, yes, adjust. He's been calling the high strike.
But if it's a ball. Like a ball 6 inches off the plate, you're never going to adjust for that because it makes no sense. Like, we're not Javi Baez out there. You're
swinging away. There are Major League Baseball players. They know the strike zone.
They know the strike zone.
What pitches they're looking for, and plate discipline, like we've been talking about, is a very important thing. I mean, and so it's very frustrating to a batter who knows that was a ball.
Yeah.
And you're being told no. It's like, no, but no, like
that was bad. Yeah,
especially when it's that bad.
So the real question is, can he be fired? And the simple answer is, from what we know, no. Because he's been, like you said. This isn't like he's been around for a couple years. He's been around for a long time, and he doesn't get. We've talked about last time. He doesn't get playoff consideration, which he's tried to sue for on the basis of discrimination. And basically, MLB says, "Yeah, we are discriminating against you. We're discriminating against you because you're terrible."
Joe Torre said something because he was like the president of that part.
Yeah, I think he had a decision to make during that.
No, you're just bad, or something. I think he said it better than that, but
something around that
boiled down to you're just bad.
I just love the joke. It's like, we are discriminating. We're discriminating against bad umpiring. Like, that's what it comes down to.
So it just doesn't seem. It seems like the umpires union is able to protect him enough to
one of the strongest unions it seems in the entire United States, because
maybe it's a time served thing, and so
he's got tenure.
You have to do something like you'd have to stab someone to get fired, I guess.
He's got tenure like Mr. Young does at our old high school.
You just
Sorry.
do whatever. You can do whatever
If
he
you're not
wants.
from New Smyrna Beach, you don't the high school. You don't know what we're talking about, but
Yeah.
but that's what Angel Hernandez has. But
yeah, so I highly doubt he gets fired unless he does something egregious. To be honest, like maybe he punches somebody in a brawl and that gets him fired. But really, I feel like that's
it won't happen because we talked about it last time. He's like one of the nicest dudes,
and off the field, people love him.
Yeah,
so
which is crazy.
It's like, so maybe you should just
like
have some introspection and see that
he's also
not
one
good
of the quickest.
Baseball.
He's also one of the quickest like guys to toss people too. Like you disagree with him, you're gone.
Yeah.
And so anyway, moving on from that. Well, kind of. We got a question from. This was actually not a question from this week. She actually asked this question, I think, sometime last year, but with the Wyatt Langford thing and with kind of some of the stuff that is going on in the minors, which I think we can answer with this question and talk about with this question. I think it's a good time to pull that question up from the dummy question logs. Her question was, if we can see the strike zone on the TV and see where these balls are, why isn't that used for strike calls? Why do they even need umpires? Which basically what she's saying is that when a pitch is thrown, for example, like this Wyatt Langford one, you have that little rectangular box shown up on the TV. The ball is shown outside of that, and we can clearly see that the ball is
a ball
out of that zone. And so if we can see it and it's live and in time, seeing it, why don't we have it? So basically what she's asking, why don't they have robo umps, which has always been a conversation for the last, I don't know, several years since I think challenges have come into play I think challenges came into play initially for home run balls, and then they switched into any like on the field call.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's been going on. Yeah, that's been going on for a while. I mean, I think the year after the perfect game was missed, the infamous perfect game, that was when replay started.
And
ever since then, I mean, there's been a lot of talk of like, well, we can clearly see the umpire is wrong on all these balls and strikes, so why don't we just get a review system or robo umps for the...
Which a lot of people did not like full robo umps, which I think you're also against, right? Which is basically the presence of like human error should be part of the game still.
I think it should be. I mean, I think, and maybe not human error, but just like the human element of the game.
Sorry, not human error, but the human element.
Like there's going to be some error. Yeah, and it's just like the human element of the game of, I mean, it's entertaining to sometimes, especially if you're on the other side of it, to watch a legitimate strikeout and watch the umpire and, like, I mean, it's entertaining, right? So
well, we talk about too, if you get rid of it completely, like people like Trevino become
the whole skill set is
become valued obsolete. Much less.
You don't need framers because we know it was a ball or a strike.
Yeah.
So, and framing is
I think it's a cool skill.
And
and I think it would diminish how good your catchers become in the future, because if they don't need to frame, then why would they try catching it certain ways?
Right. Your whole technique changes, and, now you're really just concerned about, not letting the ball go by, or not letting the ball go by. So there's the human element to not want it that way. I think if I know when calls go our way, it'd be like, that would suck if that was a robo ump like that, So you kind of still want some of those calls that, especially the close ones, that go your way. But the challenge system that they have now in the minor leagues, which I think started last year, maybe the year before.
I think it started last year, maybe the year before, but with the lower leagues. This year it's up at AAA.
It's already okay. So this year's the first AAA.
Yeah, because we saw it a little bit last year with Jason Dominguez used it, but this year another probably guy who's going to be a rookie by the end of the year, like in the major leagues by the end of the year, Paul Skeens, who was LSU's championship. They won the national championship last year. He was pitching in a game where he called back-to-back, or maybe not back-to-back, but at least 2 times in the game. It's like a head tap thing to say I'm challenging or whatever, and he was right on both of them. So that's kind of how it works. Is basically you get a certain amount of challenges either per inning or per game.
Per game, I think.
Yeah,
I think
you basically
like,
just.
I want to say it's limited. It's just I want 1 or 2 at most. It's just like your challenges on the field. So like they won't be combined, I don't think. But you don't have a lot. So there's also, so there's strategy involved with using those challenges. You probably don't want to use them in the beginning. There might be some people so the catcher, the batter, or I guess, and the pitcher can call these challenges, and
they say that the pitcher really shouldn't, and that that was kind of the big conversation around Paul Skeens, was that you really should have let the catcher do that. But I mean, he was right both times, so you can't fault him being right.
Yeah.
They say the catcher should, because the catcher has better rapport with the umpire, and if the pitcher's doing it, who don't have typically good rapport with catchers or umpires,
they're the one that's getting salty on the mound if you call a bad call. So, but I mean, there's strategy that's involved with it, because there could be like certain batters on your team that you're like, you're not allowed to challenge anything. I don't care what you see. You're not allowed to do it because you're bad at calling balls and strikes.
Yeah, but you let Soto.
Maybe. But Soto
has
all day,
free
every
range.
day.
Free reign.
You can
you call
whenever
it
you
whenever
want to do that. First inning, ninth inning, whenever you want, you call that balls and strikes. So there's strategy to like when you would use it, who you might want to not use it, or and so it
like Javi Baez,
the,
for example, should not be using.
Right, Javi Baez should.
Well, Javi Baez will swing at it anyway, so.
Right, I guess so. There probably won't matter, but if he does get a called strike that he disagrees with, you probably shouldn't let him use the challenge system. So I think it's better that way. I feel like just becomes. You don't want a robotic sport. You don't want.
And I think it works. I mean, every sport has this type of thing. Tennis uses it. Where they have like a line system where if they feel like a ball was out, they still have a line judge who watches it, but they can call a challenge. You see it in soccer too, where they have a goal line replay. Now those are not judgment things. So like if it's close enough, it just automatically goes to review. Kind of like NFL.
They do that.
All scoring plays go to review.
Okay. And I mean, there's some plays that just go to review without challenges in MLB too. I mean, there'll be like home runs that the crew chief will just say like, let's just.
We're not sure. Yeah.
Or I mean, it's sometimes any play. I think any play is up for an
umpire. Well, that's what happened last year with the Cleveland game, where I think was it Bader or no, maybe not Bader, Hicks. Hicks
didn't catch the ball
for the ball and didn't catch it, but they thought he caught it, and
the umps were like, well.
We'll just challenge it for you.
The umps on that one were like, you should challenge.
Oh, that's right. They told him you should challenge, and
that was some bull.
Boone was like, "We've been practicing this all spring."
And also, it's been the time has passed. He shouldn't be allowed to check. Yeah, that was a pain in the ass thing. So there's always kinks with challenges, but I do think. I mean, this is going to make it to Major League Baseball. I think a lot of people like it. Sure. It's a good balance between. Yeah,
it's worked really well,
and that's also kind of exciting, to watch.
And that's another element of when you said the strategy and getting a pitch overturned. Soto for sure would have had a couple this year where he's like, no.
Judge, could you imagine Judge with his low strike? He's like, and then they're like, yeah, you're right, you are 6'7". Like he gets those ankle pitches called so much, and so. And so frequently, you saw that. Did you see that stat from like last week? I don't know if we talked about it on the.
Yeah, I don't know if we did or not, but he is
far and away gets more low balls
strikes than anybody else.
Yeah, and it's like the next person is so far away from him, and there are actually multiple Yankees in the top 5. I want to say it was Soto and Judge, or maybe it was Stanton and Judge. Yeah, like we get a lot of low or out of the zone.
Well, it's because they're both tall guys, and they're typically that is a strike on anybody else.
Sure, but it's like
he is 6'7" and 7
at his shins. Like, no, that's not. He's 6'7". Like, you have to adjust your strike zone. Sorry, but so like for things like that, I think it'll be real sweet.
And so real quick to cap it off between this and the Angel Hernandez thing, because I did see someone bring this up into the Angel Hernandez thing, which I don't really agree with. Someone said that basically it was not Passan, but kind of up in that level, wrote an article basically explaining that if this robo ump thing comes into play and we have the challenges, this could be a way for MLB to be able to prove that Hernandez should be able to be fired, because if he gets a lot of these things overturned. My only thing is that they already know that he misses these calls. Like they have the umpires scorecards. They don't let him play in the playoffs for a reason. So I don't think he's going to get fired even with the addition of these challenges, because he actually has, I think, I could be wrong on the statistic, but I've heard it before, that he has the most in play, because again, they can challenge calls on the play, safe out calls, stuff like that. He has the most overturned calls in that, and that hasn't changed anything with his job status. So,
no. Well, and so I did look up, but as we were talking, how long has he been in the league? And he started in 1991. This man has been
he's been in there for almost 30
years. And
over 30 years, yeah.
Over 30, you're almost 30, right? Over 30 years. And so and it does, I thought
you said 99 at first, and then I realized that you said 91.
91. The late 1900s. So in July 20
he was in the 1900s.
He was umping in the
1900s. That's LG watches our thing. She'll know what that's an inside joke from her.
So
she had an 18-year-old that she knew that she was talking to, was like talking about some business that they were applying for, and they were like, oh, do you know like when it's open? And she's like, I don't know, it's been open since the 1900s. And she was like,
excuse me?
Excuse me?
Yeah. We have the Cliff's nieces, our niece and nephew. They have said multiple times about how we're from the 1900s, or that technology or whatever is from the 1900s.
Nice.
So it's always nice to
the olden days.
The olden days, yes. They don't even throw in late 1900s either, which I just think is, and that's what
that was her point. Was just like she just said the 1900s. She was like it was 1986. What are we talking about?
It's a very long time ago. And just to clarify that lawsuit, I guess I thought it was like, I don't know what I thought it was, but it was a federal lawsuit against MLB.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I knew it was a lawsuit. I don't know. I guess maybe I thought it was just local.
They tried to go all the way up with it, and basically in federal court, MLB said,
"No,
you suck."
Yeah. Yes. So yeah.
Anyway,
they've said publicly that he sucks since 2017, and
they can't fire him, and they haven't fired. So I don't think it's going to happen. But I will enjoy seeing calls of his overturned next year.
Absolutely.
And we will all rejoice and have some type of alcoholic drink in celebration when he retires. But anyway,
there'll be another bad ump to replace him. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, there are some other bad umps, but
throw in Laz Diaz.
It's really bad when you know Angel Hernandez. When people who don't even watch baseball know how bad Angel Hernandez is.
What did you say?
As an umpire, you should not know really who their name is.
Yeah, I sent you. It was a reel from Instagram. And it was a girl, and they don't know that this is reversed. But the girl says, like, ladies, does your man love baseball?
I mean, love baseball.
And something like he sucks like doing stuff around the house. And he's like, what? What's wrong? It's like, just tell him, just look him straight in the eye and just tell him that he is the
Angel.
But
not Hernandez.
I know. I know.
Much different.
Right. I was trying to stop myself each time. She says, just tell him that he's the Angel Hernandez of doing dishes, and it will hurt him.
Oh no!
It hurt him to the core. I was like, "Oh man, that would be terrible." If somebody told me I was the Angel Hernandez at anything, I would just
LG is going to listen to this. You just gave LG something, because LG is going to listen to this tomorrow, and she's going to start saying that like you're the Angel Hernandez of putting your clothes in the hamper or something like that. It's
Cliff's the Angel Hernandez of putting his clothes in the hamper. I bet if we go to the hamper right now, you've got clothes hanging over the hamper.
Yeah, that's my issue. They never make it.
What do you boys do?
Tell you what, you go right now and grab the first thing that's just dangling off the side of the hamper, and you tell me what shirt it is. I know exactly what shirt it is.
Oh, great, of course. Okay, 9 times out of 10, it's his stuff. Okay, so constantly draping it over the hamper.
What are the chances this is the one time?
Okay.
Well, anyway, we appreciate everybody listening to us. For an hour and a half of potting. I thought everything that we talked about today for an hour and a half was entertaining and fun. So
hopefully you did too.
We didn't make it to Friday night this week, so that was good. No. So yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed it. We
earlier.
Yeah.
Go tell your wife that she was dumb for believing in us.
Yeah. She was hoping that we were going to be done before midnight last week, and she said she was going to be up by the time I was done potting today. However, I still see lights on out there, so
maybe she's still up. Maybe we did it.
But anyway, thank you. She did it. Thank you guys for listening to us each and every week. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, X, Threads at @DamnYanks_pod. Again, we've been posting. Cliff has been posting a lot of unique things with different highlight videos, stuff like that. So definitely follow on those platforms as well as on Facebook at @DamnYanksPod. And then however you watch us, whether on Spotify or YouTube, smash that like button and hit the subscribe and all the other things that you need to do to keep up to date with us. I think we're going to have another podcast coming out on Tuesday morning of next week. It'll be a short week. We'll just be discussing Tampa and how that game did, that series did there. So hopefully all positive things.
Yes, it would be nice to beat Tampa in the Bronx. Somehow yes. They always come in and not intimidated at all. Freaking race. Nope. So yeah, and probably be a shorter pod because there's only 3 games and hopefully less stuff for us to ramble on about, I guess. Hopefully. Maybe not. No promises.
Yeah. So anyway, see ya.
See ya.